Christina Applegate is now mostly confined to her bedroom as her battle with multiple sclerosis continues to reshape every part of her daily life, and the newest revelations about her condition are both heartbreaking and deeply powerful. The beloved actress, now 54 years old, has been brutally honest about what living with MS truly looks like behind closed doors, and it's a reality far removed from red carpets, flashing cameras, and standing ovations. For decades, audiences saw Christina as vibrant, energetic, quick-witted, and unstoppable. From her breakout role as the hilarious Kelly Bundy to her later critically acclaimed performances in comedy and drama, she built a career on movement, timing, physicality, and emotional depth. But today, movement itself has become one of her greatest challenges. The woman who once commanded television screens now measures her energy in minutes and steps. Multiple sclerosis, often referred to simply as MS, is a chronic autoimmune disease that attacks the central nervous system, the brain, and spinal cord. To understand what that means, imagine your nervous system as a vast network of electrical cables sending instructions throughout your body. These cables are wrapped in a protective coating called myelin. In MS, the immune system mistakenly attacks that coating, damaging it. When that insulation is stripped away, the signals between the brain and body become scrambled or weakened. The result? A wide range of symptoms that can affect everything from mobility to vision to cognition. Symptoms vary from person to person, which makes MS especially unpredictable. Some experience numbness and tingling. Others struggle with muscle weakness, loss of coordination, vision disturbances, tremors, or speech issues. One of the most common and debilitating symptoms is fatigue, not ordinary tiredness, but a crushing exhaustion that can feel like gravity itself is pulling the body down. Chronic nerve pain, known as neuropathic pain, can feel like burning, stabbing, or electric shocks shooting through the limbs. There is no cure for MS. Treatments exist to manage symptoms and slow progression, but the disease itself remains lifelong. Christina first publicly shared her diagnosis in August 2021, but her symptoms had already begun months earlier while she was filming the final season of Dead to Me. At first, it was subtle, tingling in her toes, a strange numbness that wouldn't go away, a feeling of imbalance that she couldn't quite explain. She chalked it up to stress or exhaustion. After all, television production schedules are demanding. But the sensations grew stronger. Walking became harder. Standing for long periods felt unnatural. She began to realize this wasn't temporary. When doctors confirmed the diagnosis, her world shifted overnight. Production on Dead to Me paused to allow her to begin treatment and process what this meant for her future. Christina later admitted that hearing the words multiple sclerosis felt like stepping into an unknown world, one filled with uncertainty. Unlike her breast cancer diagnosis in 2008, which led to a double mastectomy and a defined course of treatment, MS offered no clear finish line. Cancer had a battle plan. MS was a lifelong companion she would now have to learn to live with. Returning to set after her diagnosis was emotional. Christina appeared publicly using a cane for the first time. That cane quickly became symbolic, not of defeat, but of adaptation. She pushed through intense discomfort to complete the final season, determined to not leave the story unfinished. Viewers praised her performance, unaware of the immense physical and emotional toll behind each scene. Award nominations followed, but what many didn't see were the long rest periods between takes, the pain she masked, and the exhaustion she endured. Fast forward to now, and Christina has revealed that her condition has progressed to the point where she spends most of her time in her bedroom or in bed. Chronic pain has become a daily reality. Fatigue limits how much physically she can accomplish in a day. Even small tasks require planning and recovery time. She has described her bedroom as both a sanctuary and a necessity, the place where she conserves energy and manages symptoms. This isn't simply about needing extra sleep. MS fatigue is described by patients as an overwhelming shutdown of the body. It can hit suddenly, without warning. No amount of rest guarantees relief. For Christina, this means prioritizing what truly matters. Energy is currency, and she must spend it carefully. One of the most touching aspects of her story is her devotion to her daughter, Sadie. Christina has spoken about how getting her daughter to school is often her primary goal for the day. She gives herself pep talks in the morning, pushing through stiffness and pain just to complete that task. Once she returns home, she often needs to rest immediately. That image, a mother battling chronic illness but still centering her child, has moved fans worldwide. Motherhood has become both motivation and grounding force. Christina has acknowledged that some days are harder than others. There are moments when she feels frustrated that she cannot be as physically active as she once was, but she also emphasizes the emotional presence she continues to provide. Strength doesn't always look like running alongside your child. Sometimes it looks like listening, supporting, and showing up in quieter ways. Christina has never been one to hide behind a polished facade. Her humor remains sharp, often dark, often self-deprecating. She jokes about her limitations. She uses sarcasm to cut through the heaviness. She has said plainly that life with MS isn't wrapped up in a pretty, inspirational bow. It's messy, it's painful, and sometimes, in her own blunt words, it simply sucks. There are days filled with grief. Grief for the version of herself who could move without calculation, who could dance, run, and travel freely. MS forces constant negotiation with her own body. How far can I walk today? Will I regret this tomorrow? Is this worth the flare-up? That mental math becomes part of daily life. Neuropathic pain adds another layer. It can feel like invisible lightning bolts traveling through the limbs. Some days are manageable. Others are overwhelming, and because MS symptoms fluctuate, unpredictability becomes a constant companion. A relatively good day can be followed by a debilitating one without warning. Despite spending much of her time resting, Christina has not withdrawn from public life entirely. Instead, she has shifted her focus toward advocacy and honesty. She speaks about invisible illness, the kind that doesn't always show externally. She reminds people that just because someone looks okay doesn't mean they feel okay. This message resonates deeply in a world where appearances often overshadow reality. She has spoken about the isolation that can accompany chronic illness. When your world shrinks to one room, it's easy to feel disconnected. Social invitations require energy calculations. Outings require recovery time. There can be guilt attached to canceling plans. But Christina pushes back against shame. She normalizes rest. She normalizes saying no. Her recently released memoir adds another layer to her story. In it, she reflects on childhood fame, navigating Hollywood, personal struggles, motherhood, cancer survival, and now MS. Writing became a way to process everything she has endured. It allowed her to reclaim her narrative, to speak in her own voice without filters. Public response has been overwhelming. Fans share messages of support daily. Many living with MS say her transparency helps them feel seen. Advocacy organizations highlight her impact in raising awareness. Fellow actors commend her bravery. In an industry that often prioritizes perfection, Christina's vulnerability stands out. Multiple sclerosis affects millions globally. It most commonly strikes adults between the ages of 20 and 50, and women are more likely to be diagnosed than men. There are different types: relapsing remitting, secondary progressive, primary progressive, each with varying courses. While Christina hasn't detailed every medical aspect of her case, her openness about mobility challenges and pain offers insight into the realities many patients face. Treatments for MS include disease-modifying therapies aimed at slowing progression, along with medications to manage specific symptoms. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, and lifestyle adjustments play key roles. Energy conservation becomes a skill. Learning when to push and when to rest becomes essential. For someone who once thrived in the fast-paced world of television, this shift is profound. Yet, Christina's spirit persists. She still connects with fans. She still participates in interviews when able. She still uses humor as armor. She still fights, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in the quiet resilience of daily survival. Her story challenges society's narrow definitions of strength. Strength isn't always standing center stage under bright lights. Sometimes it's getting out of bed despite pain. Sometimes it's admitting you're struggling. Sometimes it's redefining success entirely. Christina Applegate remains the same woman audiences have admired for decades. Talented, intelligent, funny, resilient. MS has changed the pace of her life, but it has not erased her identity. She is still a performer, still a mother, still a voice. The image of her mostly confined to her bedroom carries weight, but it also represents adaptation. That room is where she rests, reflects, writes, and gathers strength. It is not surrender, it is survival. There is no dramatic cure on the horizon, no tidy ending. Her journey continues, evolving day by day, but what remains constant is her honesty, her refusal to sugarcoat, her willingness to say the uncomfortable truths. Christina Applegate's battle with MS is more than a headline. It's a deeply human story unfolding in real time. It's about resilience that doesn't look glamorous. It's about redefining purpose when circumstances change. It's about finding meaning even when the world narrows physically. And though she may spend much of her time in her bedroom, her voice, powerful, unfiltered, and courageous, continues to reach far beyond those walls. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.